talk about Bobby Turner. You
Right.
know, Mike Shanahan has a very, very interesting coaching tree,
Right.
and it's filled with guys in their 30s, maybe 40s, who
hmm
are considered geniuses, but haven't won anything except for Sean McVay.
Right.
And it's every year it's like, who's the next 32-year-old genius that coached for Kyle Shanahan? Meanwhile, there's this 74-year-old who's kind of chilling in the background, never been a coordinator, but he's a constant. He's been the running back coach forever for Mike and for Kyle. He follows them wherever they go,
Exclusively.
and doesn't coach for anyone else. And people just sort of take it for granted. Yeah, he's good. He's important. Uh-huh. I don't think people fully appreciate just how important this man is and how big of a deal it was when he wasn't there for an offseason in 3 games last year. How
hmm
important it was when he came back and how he's not going to be here for much longer. Dude,
hmm
74. Let's talk about Bobby Turner.
Bobby Turner is regarded as, if not the best, one of the best running back coaches in football, period.
Mhm.
Um, he coached for over 23 years before he got his first NFL job posting in 1995 with the Denver Broncos under Mike Shanahan.
Mhm.
Before he got to the NFL, he was a running backs coach and an offensive coordinator for Purdue from
Mhm.
1991 to 1994. Now, in that time, he was under coach Jim Coletto, where he had spent 2 years previously in Ohio State, where he
Mhm.
coached, who is that? The running back out of Ohio State,
Robert
Robert
Smith.
Smith,
Robert
the Robert
Smith,
Smith, right?
great running back for the Vikings and a very good college football analyst. Excellent
Yes,
college football
and
analyst.
also
Yes.
in that running back room in Ohio State, he had 5 running backs that all made it to the NFL.
Yeah.
Out of that running back room in Purdue, Mike Allstott was his project. Turned Mike
Yeah.
Allstott into a plus 130-yard a game back, and that offense in 2 years that
Mike
he was there
Allstott.
averaged over 235 yards rushing
And
a
what
game.
blocking scheme were they using at Purdue?
I believe they were using the inside and outside zone.
Wow, back in 1992, 3, 4. That's amazing. What was
Yes.
Kyle doing back then? Oh, he was in middle school.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
offense.
Born.
What was
Yeah.
I doing back then? I was in preschool. Okay.
Yeah. I was in preschool. So, and if you want to, if you just want a little bit of from the horse's mouth data, get on
Yeah,
YouTube and go to Bobby Turner describes his perfect 49ers running back, where you can hear him talk
I just
about,
watched it.
yeah,
Yeah.
where you can hear him talk about him being in the inside and outside zone scheme since college. So this is an iron cast mold, if you will. If you're in the industries, you know that an iron cast mold is one of one. It's what you keep pouring into to keep your product coming in and coming out. It's the Go ahead.
Oh, go keep. No, I keep going. I was agreeing with you. Keep going.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the kernel of your organization. I believe
Yeah.
that Bobby Turner is not only vital to the 49ers coaching staff, but if you really want to be quite frank about it, he's the only person on that staff that's a founding father of that
Yeah.
offense. He
That's
was
true.
actually there with Alex Gibbs and Mike
Yeah.
Shanahan and Terrell Davis when they got him out of the draft and turned him into
Hmm.
a household name. He was the
Hall of
guy.
Famer.
Yes, Hall of Famer. He was the
Yeah.
guy that did that. Um, Bobby
So
Turner.
real quick, what I want to say is like people give him credit as being a great running back coach, and we're gonna talk about that in a second. But I think what people give Kyle credit for and his dad is their scheme. It's like they're so far away beyond everyone in their X's and O's. Well, Bobby's a big part of that.
Mhm.
Bobby was doing this scheme in college at Purdue. Mike
Yeah,
Shanahan saw it, was like, we need this in Denver. I
yeah,
mean, they weren't doing this outside zone stuff on the Niners when Mike Shanahan was here as much because, I mean, I don't think the Niners would allow it. I mean, they had Bob McKittrick at the time. He was doing what he wanted to do. He
yeah.
went to Denver, brought in Alex Gibbs, brought in Bobby Turner, and they start. So he's a big part of this scheme. And I just want to point out with Kyle Shanahan, every single year he's been a coordinator except for one. He had Bobby Turner with him. The one year he didn't was his 1 year in Cleveland.
And
That
he got
1 year,
dismissed.
his offense averaged 3.6 yards per carry, which was 28th in the league. Um, he's really freaking important, and he doesn't get any credit for being a genius or
Yeah.
being a guru. But
And I
I
mean,
think he probably is.
and the
He's the
proof
one.
is in the pudding. I mean,
Yeah.
Mike Anderson, Tatum Bell, Orlandis Gary, Clinton Portis, Alfred Morris.
How
I
many
mean,
guys has he gotten paid in terms of coaches? How
the
many guys
proof
has
is,
he
I
made look
mean,
smart?
guys, his just
McDaniel,
look at it this
LaFleur,
way. Go back and
Shanahan.
go back and watch that video with Bobby Turner describes his perfect 49ers running back. And what he's gonna make a quote that's completely different from what every talking head has ever said about this offense. And that is what? You can just put anybody in this offense.
He's like, nope.
It's the scheme. It's the
Nope.
scheme. And
At
what
running
that
back.
does in an effect
Yeah.
is it takes the artistry out of the endeavor. It makes
Right.
it look like it's tactile, almost
Yeah.
as if the people don't matter.
Right.
And in that video, Bobby Turner says out of his own mouth, it's a marriage.
Yep.
A lot of people
gotta be
think
right
that you
fit.
could put anybody into this scheme, but
Can't.
it's really hand in glove.
Yeah.
And you have to find the right people. It's about scouting the right people, and it's our responsibility to do that. Also, he also said that his biggest coaching skill was my biggest ability is learning how to get out of the way and
Yeah.
letting the players take over once we teach them. So I just there's just
Yeah.
some things
Yeah.
that are coming out of the
What he
foundation.
means by that, though, it seems like with outside zone, it was zone runners. Like we've seen it from Arian Foster to Alfred Morris to Raheem Mostert. Like it doesn't really matter how fast you are. What matters is how your vision and how quickly you make decisions. Are they because like there's not a set track.
Right.
I mean, there's like a running track, but at a certain point, like you could go outside, you could cut inside, you could cut it back. Like you have to make that decision. You can't hesitate, and you got to make one cut and go. Some guys are like Tevin Coleman on the Niners was really indecisive. Raheem Mostert was extremely decisive, and it didn't even look like he was juking anyone. But you have to have that vision, and you have to have that. I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know if Ty Davis Price has it. Jordan Mason has it.
Well, I mean, from a coaching term, they would call that slow to and fast through. So.
Yep.
You would go slow to and fast.
He mentions patience, right? He mentions patience, doesn't he?
Yes. And also from a running back perspective, especially when you're coaching, you want to build a foundation, like an ethos. And I gained some insight from Coach Turner from him talking about runners being in service of the other 10, not the other way around. These guys are not blocking for you. You're setting them up. Right. You're making them right. And I feel like from that perspective, you have to be a very good teacher and putting responsibility on a ball carrier when you're asking him to go through an offense. That doesn't sound like a pony that you just put blinders on and you let him carry the ball. That doesn't sound like somebody that you can just plug into a system.
No, and it's not like, hey, go freelance. Hey, go do whatever you want to do. It's like follow the track that we set for you. Follow your visual keys exactly. And really, I mean, it's not like there's like a right answer to these runs. Like they stop it the next day and they click it and you're like, okay, the hole was here. You should have went here.
Yeah.
And some guys are good at that. Some guys aren't.
I think that one of the reasons why our running backs probably all of the running backs in this scheme probably get the moniker of being, accessible or versatile is because I don't think that we're recognizing the fact that maybe the criteria for getting these running backs is bespoke. Maybe it's curated. Maybe it's so intricate of what Bobby has done throughout the years of knowing what these guys look for that they supersede the draft, that there is no round. We can get these guys because we know exactly how to teach them once we get them inside of our building. And I think that it's time for fans to start realizing that he's not just a position coach. He's a chartered member.
Yeah, and he's not going to be here forever. He just turned 74 a couple weeks ago. At a certain point, the Niners need to leave him alone and say thank you, everything. Like the Shanahans having called on him. He's their right-hand man. He's the ace up their sleeve, and I get it. He's great. But at a certain point, Kyle's going to have to do it without him. He will. And I'm curious. I mean, it's great that you got Anthony Lynn sort of learning from Bobby Turner, but I don't know that you can replicate Bobby Turner. He seems like he's a truly special one-of-one type.
this is a coach that still gives out pencil and paper tests before games on assignments for running backs. So this is an educator.
Yeah, he's not messing around.
Yeah.
Flave says people act like anyone can be put into the quarterback spot in this offense too. Nah, there's a particular skill set you need to have to be good, just like running back. I agree. That's why the Shanahans wanted Trey Lance. I totally agree. That's why they wanted Trey Lance and traded up for Trey Lance.
And that's why Mike went out and got Jay Cutler.
Right, you got to be able to do play action. You got to be able to be under center. It's very much. You got to be able to throw rolling left and rolling right. Those bootlegs are very important. That's why Jimmy's gone. Couldn't do any of that stuff.